I've lived in this small suburban town my entire life, and I've grown accustomed to the familiar faces and routines of my neighbors. But there's one person who has always stood out to me, the neighbor who never leaves their house. I've lived next to Mr. Jenkins for over 10 years, and in that time, I've never seen him set foot outside. At first, I thought maybe he was just a recluse, or perhaps he was bedridden with an illness. But as the years went by, my curiosity turned to concern, and eventually, to fear. I'd often see the curtains twitching in his windows, and I'd catch glimpses of him pacing back and forth behind the glass. His house was always immaculately maintained, with perfectly manicured lawn and pristine paint job. It was as if he was waiting for something, or someone. I tried to brush it off as mere paranoia, but the feeling of being watched never went away. One day, I decided to take matters into my own hands and introduce myself. I walked up to his front door, took a deep breath, and knocked. The door creaked open by itself, and I called out to see if anyone was there. The air inside was thick and stale, and I could hear the faint sound of whispering. I stepped inside, my heart racing, and that's when I saw it. The entire house was filled with photographs of me. Every room, every wall, every surface was covered in pictures of my daily life. I saw myself walking to school, playing with friends, and even sleeping in my own bed. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that Mr. Jenkins had been watching me my entire life. And then, I heard his voice. It was low and raspy, and it seemed to come from all around me. "Welcome home," he said. I spun around, but there was no one there. Suddenly, the lights flickered and the whispering stopped. I was plunged into darkness, and I stumbled my way back to the front door. As I emerged into the bright sunlight, I saw Mr. Jenkins standing in his window, staring at me with an unblinking gaze. I knew then that I had to get out of there, to get as far away from him as possible. But as I turned to run, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was cold and clammy, and it seemed to be pulling me back. I tried to shake it off, but it only gripped me tighter. And then, everything went black. When I came to, I was back in my own bed, with no memory of how I got there. But as I looked around my room, I saw that everything was different. The furniture was the same, but the decorations were all wrong. And then, I saw the photographs. They were everywhere, just like in Mr. Jenkins' house. I realized then that I had never left his house, that I had been trapped there all along. And as I looked out the window, I saw Mr. Jenkins standing in his yard, staring at me with an unblinking gaze. I was his now, and I would never be able to escape.